Since lockdown started, viewership of the famous TV show The Sopranos jumped by 179%, while one of the most popular podcasts of the COVID era has been Talking Sopranos, featuring Michael Imperioli and Steve Sciarippa, who played Christopher Moltisanti and Bobby Baccellieri respectively. Widely considered by critics to be one of the greatest television series of all time, a recurring question for fans of The Sopranos has revolved around Tony's moral character. Is Tony Soprano a hero or a villain?
And he's evil.
As Michael Imperioli asked in one of the first episodes of the podcast, to which Sciarippa replied, "I think he's both." The fundamental tension of good and evil contained within the same man captivated audiences throughout the show, and is fundamental to its popularity. Tony Soprano, Sciarippa explains, was the first lead character to be a bad guy who did bad things, yet the audience chose to root for him. He's a murderer, he's a drug dealer, he's a thief, he cheats on his wife, he hits all the sins, yet for whatever reason, the audience likes him. Today we're discussing the intriguing and beloved character of The Sopranos, Tony, giving you all the information about his rise and fall. So, let's get started. It's hard not to love Tony Soprano. Despite his harmful actions and mistakes, we find ourselves rooting for him. He's a likable and charismatic character, and his stressful job as a mobster allows viewers to empathize with him. Tony's various girlfriends and promiscuous behavior can be seen as wish fulfillment for the audience, and his lavish lifestyle and larger-than-life personality can make it easy to overlook his flaws. However, a rewatch of the series reveals a deeper character study where the writers expertly foreshadow Tony's ultimate fate and showcase the brilliance of the show's writing. Tony Soprano is a complex and multifaceted character, made all the more interesting by the fact that he's a high-ranking mobster seeking therapy. His family history and dynamics significantly impact his actions and personality throughout the series. Tony aspires to be like his father, a respected and successful man, but struggles with issues stemming from his relationship with his mother. Despite attempting therapy with Dr. Melfi, Tony is unable to fully address and resolve these issues, and this is reflected in his choice of girlfriends and his desire to please the women in his life, particularly his mother. His wife, Carmela, is not like his mother, and therefore Tony has less psychological incentive to please her. Instead, he tries to replace his mother with other women, failing to fully heal from his issues with her. The Sopranos can be divided into two main acts, with Season 4 acting as a bridge between them. In the first act, Seasons 1 through 3, Tony's depicted as a likable and almost untouchable character. However, in Season 4, his actions start to have consequences, such as when he kills Ralph and his leadership is openly questioned. This season also features a significant turning point in Tony's relationship with Carmela, culminating in her leaving him and a conflict with Johnny Sack that foreshadows a larger conflict with New York. By the end of Season 4, Tony is shown to be more vulnerable than ever before, setting the stage for the final act of the series. In the later seasons of The Sopranos, 5, 6A, and 6B, Tony's depicted as a more humanized and vulnerable character, with the consequences of his actions on full display. He struggles with the loneliness and a lack of relationships with women while separated from Carmela, and his relationship with Christopher deteriorates. As a result, he becomes closer to his cousin, Tony B., whom he helps and ultimately kills, causing further problems in his crew and leading to the final conflict with Phil Leotardo. Loneliness and guilt may have played a role in Tony's actions towards Tony B., as he's been increasingly isolated and seeking protection from the feds. Death is a prominent theme in the later seasons of The Sopranos, 6A and 6B. The Kevin Finity episodes serve as a spiritual warning to Tony to choose a different path or face death. He initially tries to adopt a new perspective on life, but ultimately falls back into old habits and makes choices that harm his relationships with others, including contemplating killing Polly and actually killing Christopher. His actions are driven by boredom and a desire for excitement, as well as paranoia. While Tony makes choices that lead to negative consequences in the later seasons of The Sopranos, Carmela is focused on self-protection. She does not trust the promise that widows and families will be taken care of after a mobster's death, and wisely prepares for the worst. Carmela is also able to take care of herself and her family due to her foresight and understanding of the dangers of the lifestyle. In the final season of The Sopranos, Tony's inability to make necessary changes leads to his self-destruction through paranoia, isolation, rage, and poor decision-making. These traits ultimately result in his death in the series finale. The show's creator provided hints throughout the season about Tony's fate, including his conversation with Bobby and Silvio's reaction to the gunfire. Despite being aware of Tony's trajectory towards death, viewers may not have wanted the final image of the series to be Tony's death, as they had come to love him despite his flaws. His refusal to change ultimately leads to his self-destruction, similar to the fate of other characters on the show. Tony was the first mainstream television character to portray what villainy looked like from the point of view of the villain. And what we learned is that no one is the bad guy in their own story. He attempts to be a good father and, to a lesser extent, a good husband. And as reprehensible as Tony was, he was still a better man than his own father. Were you among the viewers who sympathized and liked Tony Soprano throughout the series? Let us know your thoughts and opinions on the main character in the comment section below. And if you enjoy these videos and want to learn more about The Sopranos and other beloved TV shows, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you're notified every time we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in our next video.